Good morning, buenos dias, and happy Mother's Day. Earlier, we sent an email earlier this week asking you to go around for a walk or to your backyard or somewhere around your house and find a stone. This has nothing to do with Mother's Day, so don't believe for a second that I was suggesting this will be Mother's Day gift. No, 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 no. You better have something better for your mom. And also Father's Day is coming in a little over a month. So anyways, but if you have your stone with you, just keep it handy. If you don't have one, don't worry about it. That's okay. But if you have one, just keep it with you there for a moment. This morning we read from Acts, the story of Stephen, more like the last hours of his life. And remember, we have been talking about the beginning of the church and the new Christians. And new Christians were welcome to the synagogues in those days, but not their teaching. Their teaching wasn't welcome whatsoever. And so because of that reason, there were tension. And Stephen was one of the new leaders in the Christian community, a very passionate man when it comes to the gospel and Jesus Christ. And because of that, he was accused of blasphemy and he was brought before the court, the high council. And while there, he challenged them. And they got so angry, really mad, to the point that they dragged Stephen out of the city and took him to a place where they were going to stone him, to kill him. Now, when we arrive to verse 58, there was another person named Saul. Saul is who will become Paul the apostle. But right here, Paul or Saul is not participating. He is only being a witness. He is there and he's holding the garments and the watches and the cell phones and the backpacks of those who are going to stone Stephen. So he is only a witness right now. Keep that in mind. Now we go to First Peter. First Peter, Peter is writing this letter to the churches of Asia Minor, which is Turkey in these days. The issue of this church, the problem they're having is that they lack identity. Remember we spoke about this last week, that one of the calls was to persevere in the community and have identity, to put on the jersey and be part of the team. So these churches were lacking that. They were having the same question we spoke about last week. What is next? So Peter is writing this letter to these churches, and Peter is not telling them what to do or how to act as people of faith. What Peter is telling them is, remember who you are and remember whose you are. That's basically what Peter is telling them here. Let me read to you beginning at verse 2. Now that you realize how kind the Lord has been to you, put away all evil, deception, envy, and fraud. Long to grow up into the fullness of your salvation. Cry for this as a baby cries for milk. Come to Christ, who is the living foundation of the rock, upon which God builds his church. What Peter is telling them is, Jesus is the cornerstone. He is the foundation of the church. And you and I are living rocks building the church. We will come back to that in a moment. Now, we can see that on the one side, we have those who are throwing stones to others. Those who are using their stones to cause pain, damage, and harm to others. On the other side, we can see that we have a group of living stones. So stones can be used to build up or to tear down, to inspire and bring hope, or to destroy. And as we think of stones, and if you have one with you, how would you use your stone today? How are you using your stones today? How have you used your stones in the past? Are you one of those throwing stones at others by critiquing them, judging other people, blaming others for your own failures, complaining about other people, demanding people to change to your way, talking in appropriate ways to other people, maybe you're raising your voice to others, maybe your attitude? Have you been throwing rocks to others? Maybe you say, oh yeah, I used to be like that, but the Lord changed me and now I'm not a stone thrower anymore. Or maybe you say, oh yeah, I throw a stone here and there, but they're very small. I don't think they will cause any harm to others. My wife or my husband or my kids, they know I am like this, and that is okay. I just throw little stones, but I don't think I'm harming anyone in any ways. Maybe others are saying, oh, not at all. I never do that. Not whatsoever. I don't throw stones to anyone. I don't speak about others. I don't give anyone a dirty look. I don't judge. I am almost perfect, you might say. Well, maybe then you are a Saul. Maybe you are holding the garments of those throwing the stones, and you are approving that by doing so. And so you're not throwing the stones directly, but you are throwing stones to others indirectly. And that is not what we have been called to be and to do. The call, my friends, is to be like Jesus. The call this morning and the invitation is to be living stones, is to build each other up, is to encourage each other, to give others a sense of dignity, to show others love and compassion. In other words, we are being called to be the church. Remember I said last week that they were persevering in being a community, putting on the jersey, having identity and loyalty to the church, to God, and to one another. That is what God is calling us to do in this time. Right now, more than ever before, you and I can witness what the church is all about. The church is not a building. The church, my friends, is you and I. And we are being called to be living rocks, to build up and do something more for our community, and do something more for one another, and do more for those we love and those we care for. The Lord is calling us to build the church. We can be a group of rocks that build each other. We can be a cairn, remembering that together we can make a difference. That's the invitation this morning. Now let me ask you again. Have you been ever in your life a stone thrower? Are you one in these days, whether they're big or small rocks that you are throwing to anyone? It doesn't matter. It doesn't make any difference if it's a small stone that you throw into others or if it's a big one. But are you throwing stones at other people, the people you love, or even people you don't know? Are you being a Saul? Are you being a witness that of people throwing stones to others, and you are approving that and not doing anything about it? If that's the case, which I think is the case for all of us, God is calling us today to be living rocks. We're going to sing together right now. There where you are, or you can simply close your eyes and listen to the words and let the Spirit speak to you this morning. And let me ask you to meditate in this and to change your ways and surrender everything to the Lord. Recognize first that He is our rock. He is our salvation. He is the foundation of the church, and He is calling us to be living rocks. And respond to that call. As we sing, there where you are, close your eyes, pray or listen to the song, and let God speak to you in a special way this morning. and after that, we will come back for a moment of prayer.